United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go to call order roll call, starting on my right.
Councilperson Brent Byer.
Councilperson Dick Updegraff.
Mayor Jimmy John King.
Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Olgen.
I'm looking for approval of tonight's agenda. Anything from there?
Shouldn't be anything here.
Anything here?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That'll take us to approval of council meeting minutes of June 26, 2018.
Move approval.
Got a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That'll take us to accounts payable. Oops, excuse me. Opposed? Nobody's going to oppose it. All right, I thought maybe you might want to, Dick. Sorry.
Okay.
Accounts payable, with the additional accounts payable there.
I had a question about the fire memorial thing. I see in here that it came out of the relief fund, so I don't worry about it, but $4,000 or something, what did they have to put in like underground sprinklers there or something?
They put a new sprinkling system in under there to water the plants.
Okay, I was curious when I drove by it. I thought, that's so new. What's wrong? What happened?
Yeah.
The payment, Barb, to Alcon Construction for 2017. Are we still retaining any of that?
Yes,
Okay.
Fire safety, what was that, $1,500 for? T-shirts?
Yeah, I see it says 50 cents each. If they,
no, that's.
I was gonna say,
I
there's
don't
no way
know
they
why
got them that
It
cheap.
was a bunch of shirts. I don't know why I think it was 50 shirts,
Oh.
not 50 each.
Oh.
Yes. Yes, I saw that after she had finished it.
And to build the Menards for the dog park?
Yes,
Is
that has been reimbursed already,
I'm just
100%.
gonna say, is that a pass-through?
That is a pass-through, yes, sir.
Any other questions for Finance Director? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? That carries. That'll take us to general business. The first item under general business tonight is a public hearing on Schuman's Rolling Ridge Third Subdivision. Planning Commission will be reviewing the plat at 6. I'm gonna close this meeting now for the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Notice is hereby given, City Council will conduct a public hearing at 7 p.m. on July 10th, 2018 in City Hall at 105 East First Street, Stewartville, for the purpose of considering the final plat for Schuman's Rolling Ridge Third Subdivisions described below. The part of the south half of the north half of the northeast quarter, the part of the north half of the south half of the northeast quarter, all in section 27. Township 105, north, range 14 west, Olmsted County, Minnesota, described as follows. You can get the complete legal description at City Hall, it's on file.
there's gotta be a better way to do it.
Any written or oral statements will be considered. Do we have any written statements?
None.
Do we have any oral statements? No. That means I'm gonna close this public hearing. Public hearing is closed. We're back to the general business. The Planning Commission will be ruling the plat at 6 p.m. prior to the council meeting. I don't anticipate any problems with them making recommendations to City Council for the approval of the plat. I take it they approved.
It's been approved.
Attached the city engineer's review letter. A development agreement letter of credit for remaining work to be done will be received prior to releasing or signing the plat. So the council action requested will be to approve resolution 201- approving the final plat of Schuman's Rolling Ridge Third Subdivision. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, we're looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
1 second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That'll carry. That takes us on to general business. Next item, resolution receiving feasibility study, calling for a public hearing for the 2019 CIP street and utilities improvement. At the May 22nd, 2018 meeting, council directed SEH to prepare the feasibility study for the 2019 CIP that will be presented at the July 10th council meeting. Feasibility study will be presented. The next step, if council wishes to do a capital improvement project in 2019, is to set a public hearing date to discuss the proposed project and assessments. The public comments will be heard at that meeting. The city will need to send out notices to all the property owners within the proposed project area and publish twice in the local newspaper. August 15th, 2018 council meeting would be the first meeting that the public hearing could be scheduled based on the legal notification requirements. Once the public hearing has been held, the council can determine at that time if they should proceed with the 2019 CIP, which would need a 4/5 vote. We have our feasibility study from the city engineer in front of us. Do we have any questions for the city engineer or anything you'd like to add, Jenna?
I can take you through it just a little bit.
All right.
So the project is proposed for 3rd Avenue Southeast, 5th Street Southeast, and 4th Avenue Southeast. The area is actually so old that we didn't have any records, so I don't know exactly how old it is. The water main on the hydrants do read 1957, so all of the utilities are around that date or before. The roadway was redone with curb in 1967. As you can tell from the pictures, there's a lot of deterioration of the roadway surface, and we've had a large history of water main breaks, including 3 just this past winter. With that, we would propose to install or reconstruct a 36-foot wide roadway on both of the avenues. And actually on 5th Street, we would reduce it to 30-foot wide and remove parking from one side. That section, or the street, only has 50 feet of right-of-way, and we would be narrowing it to make a connection with a sidewalk on one side of the street. We'd also propose that on 3rd Avenue to only put sidewalk on one side of the street, and that is due, we do have 66 foot of right-of-way, but that is due to some of the houses are very close to that right-of-way line. And we would have a sidewalk within 7 to 10 feet of the front of the houses, which did not seem very practical. It would also reduce ability to park within driveways. So we are proposing sidewalk on just one side. 4th Avenue does allow for sidewalk on both sides. We're also looking at connecting 4th Avenue to itself to make a through street from 4th Street to 6th Street. That would involve obtaining right-of-way from one property owner to bring the street through. There's already water going through at that location. The water is the same age as the rest of the water and would need to be replaced anyway. In order to do so, we would need to start the acquisition of that right-of-way. Right-of-way here. It can take up to 6 months for that process to happen. If it would take the full 6 months, that pushes back us being able to bid the project and award the bids at our first meeting in March of next year. So if we do not start the process now, it would push our bidding back even further. If we can expedite the process, we would be able to bid earlier. Do you want to share? We have been seeing a spike or a rise in construction costs this spring and summer. Lots of places have seen 10 to 20% increases from bids completed earlier in the year. That is due to multiple different things. Some of these projects were bid later, like in the May, June time period of this year. And some of the cost is thought to be because there are limited construction crews or actually contractors and construction workers. We do not have the same amount of workers as we used to do the work, so prices are going up there. There's also been an increase in costs of materials. Steel is going up. The oil barrel is going up, and with the Superior refinery fire, asphalt binders in the area is limited. There are projects this year that are not able to receive their binder. So that is some of the talk going around the engineering world. We hope that they'll be able to increase production and get everything back in supply by next year, but it might be a rise that we just end up seeing. So the total project, if we move forward with everything, this is including construction, all engineering, and our estimated legal and right-of-way acquisition would be $2,114,000. The estimated assessment rate per linear foot is $62.83. Any questions?
Yeah, why did we wait so long to do this? I mean, wait a minute, you're saying, some telling me that my prices are gonna go up, and have this done next year, but nobody gives me an answer why they waited so long to do it. I realize you couldn't go up the streets and all at the same time, but if the water lines and the sewer lines and the road is in such bad shape, why did we wait until this good? I'm gonna have a good reason here, guys, because I'm gonna be increased on my taxes. I wanna make sure, and I wanna know why. And it better be more than prices have gone up.
Well, every year we go out as a group and we look
I
at,
know I've heard that, but you can't see underground. You know? Driving around in a vehicle isn't gonna tell you anything as far as the condition of the street. They haven't touched that street for the last 10 years, so it's bound to be in bad shape. I've asked this question over and over from people in City Hall, and nobody gives me a straight answer. Why did they do that street when they did the rest of the southeast?
I don't think you can get a straight answer for that, though.
Huh?
I don't think it's as easy as getting a straight answer, because there's other people in other areas that had really cruddy water lines too that would ask the same thing. And I do understand that you happen to look at it like bad luck right now, and why did it take so long with yours? But it's not an easy decision to decide which one you're gonna do every year, and you can only afford so much at a time.
The city workers are out there fixing the water mains, and I walk by and I'm talking to them, and they tell me they have never seen such water mains in such bad shape out of all of the ones that they've had to fix.
That I can't answer. But I know that there's a lot of them that are in rough shape, and they're fixing them all
I
over.
have to pay on that line.
Dan, we do try and prioritize, and there's no way you can juggle everything.
My question is, why did they do it when they did the rest of us?
Just don't have the money to do that whole stretch that much at once. We don't have the money to do it all. You have to try and
Well,
prioritize.
but I have the money to face the increase when the time comes, right? Apparently.
We're not guaranteed an increase on this, Dan, but you raise a good question, and I hope you come to the meeting if we set a meeting and bring these questions up there too. This isn't a public hearing tonight, Dan, I'm sorry to say that, but we thank you for your input.
I'm just making a statement.
I know, and I understand your statement, I do. So, the council action requested adopt resolution 2018 a resolution receiving feasibility study and calling public hearing on 2019 street utility improvements 2019 CIP project.
We would also need to make a motion whether or not to proceed for the right-of-way
Oh,
acquisition.
okay. Is that a separate motion, or is that included in
Yeah,
this
because
motion?
it'll involve different things, starting with an appraisal is the main thing.
All right, let's go by with, should we do the feasibility study one first? All right. So do we have
I'll move on that.
a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion or questions on the feasibility study? Set it in the hearing. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next motion we need to make if we want to proceed on,
Right now, it'd just be referred to as right-of-way acquisition.
right-of-way
on-
acquisition on
Yeah.
Fourth.
And the first main two items that we'll be working with is a survey to actually define that right-of-way on that property, and then an appraisal.
And if you looked at your feasibility study, there's a number in there, and the number they're looking at for approximate
Approximate.
of 55,000 to follow through with this.
That's the total cost of everything.
If we do everything.
That's
If we do
everything.
everything.
But these first two items are essential to at least give us a better.
That's
view.
not just for the acquisition
No,
and
that's
court
for-
costs and stuff like that?
That would be for court costs to take through the entire process if needed.
Discussion?
Does that commit us then to going through with the acquisition? Or is
No,
it
no, you
just-
still have up to, because you'll want to see what the appraisal comes back at. Because that cost would have to be built into the project cost. So you'll still have another opportunity to review this.
That number doesn't include part of your estimate on that?
Yeah,
For
The 55, is that just,
includes everything.
that would include getting the appraisal, the survey
Survey.
work, and estimated costs for attorneys and engineers for the process.
but not acquisition cost?
Like,
Yeah,
and
it-
there was an estimated price. for
An
the-
estimate.
estimated has been included in
But
it.
We- And we use basically a county normal assessed valuation that they do for all
I
properties.
just want to be clear on that, that
Yeah.
it wasn't there 25,000 on top or something like that.
Sure hope not.
I'll make a motion to proceed.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a
Second.
motion and we have a second. To proceed with, at least with, get the appraisals and some of that done. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That takes us next on to the next general, is a liquor license transfer. Strikers are requesting to utilize Minnesota State Statute 340A.404 sub .4 to sell intoxicating liquor at the Civic Center on September 15th. And then the statute's all spelled out. Council action requested to be to authorize strikers to utilize the state statute to sell intoxicating liquor at the Civic Center on September 15th, 2018, subject to all proper application. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That will carry. That will take us to mayor, staff, and consultant reports. Takes us out of general business. Tonight, the city would like to send their sympathies out to the families of Bud Hill, Patricia Taylor, Chris Johnson, and Dick Monson. The library is going to host Jason Hunky's comedy juggling show at the Civic Center tomorrow. This is open to the public and will be a great time for all, Dick. Storm is coming to town, July 16th through the 20th. If you or someone you know could use some help, please give them a call. They're willing to try and help you do almost anything. You can also look in your Stewartville Star for more information on this. Now, there's going to be a benefit for Les Severson, who's battling lung cancer. The benefit's going to be held at the American Legion on July 21st. And remember, these benefits are always important for the individuals and their families, and it kind of brings our community together. It just all there in one place at one time for this person. So please plan to stop in and offer your support in any way you can. July 21st, 20th through the 21st brings the Root River Antique Power Show and annual Racine's Chicken Feed. If you've never tasted their chicken, it truly is some of the best around, it really is. It's a plateful when you go down there and get it. Bear Cave Barbecue Music Fest, July 27th and 28th. Check out the Star for more details. That's always, last year was just the kickoff of it, and that was a great time. This year will be bigger and better than ever, so if you haven't been out there, you want to get there. And Summerfest, I want to thank the chamber, I want to thank the volunteers, I want to thank our city people, everyone that was involved in that. This was another great time, big parade. Storm came through town, and everybody got everything picked up and got it rolling again. Fireworks went off great. Thank you, the fire department. The parade was bigger, I think, and better than ever. We had a lot of great, good-looking guys driving cars around in there. So thank you, chamber. Thank all the volunteers. Really, it's a big job. It takes up a lot of time. And also thank you to the chamber. It's just, again, I'm truly grateful that this celebration can continue and does continue year after year, and it gets bigger and better as always. Special thanks to Sean's crew also, because they did a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we don't know about. I know they were in there bright and early again on the 4th, the morning of the 4th. They were there in the 3rd, setting things up. They came in bright and early, and they were there picking stuff up again. They do a great job. And the park looked fantastic again, like it always does. So thank you. Thank everyone that was involved. Thank you for coming. That's all I got. Take you to city administrator report.
The report's in your packet, and actually tying in, the only item I have tying in two topic areas, obviously the CIP projects and then Summerfest. We have given the chamber notification, but we want the public to know that if our projects continue, most likely in the years 2020 and 2021, a lot of the activities might be moved or will probably be planned to be moved out to Bear Cave, because those streets and those neighborhoods are now going to deal with their reconstructions and utilities, and it just won't really be possible to help with neighborhood traffic control without getting everything moved out of the way, and that includes the parade route too. So we're going to work with the chamber as these next couple years go by, but it's just to give everyone a heads up. There'll be a time to try out Bear Cave for a lot of our events, so activities. That should do it.
Any questions for the administrator? All right, thanks, Bill. It takes us on to Finance Director Newbauer. Do you have anything to report?
I would like to schedule a finance meeting with the finance committee, probably within the next week or so. We weren't able to have one last week because it was the 4th of July, so maybe next Wednesday. I'll coordinate it with both of you.
I'll let you know. I know I work Wednesday, but
Yeah, I'll coordinate it with both of your calendars, and we'll post it. Thank you.
Any questions for Barb? All right, thank you, Barb. City engineers report. Anything else to report? Whoops,
You skipped someone.
I'm sorry. I wanted to give him a couple days off. He worked so hard over the 4th. I didn't think he needed to report anything.
I do only want to say the one thing is the Summerfest, it is a lot of extra work, but the people that were running it, the volunteers and the people we work with were excellent to work with, and it makes it so much easier when they're, so Gwen and that whole crew, Stacy, Al Chihawk, they're also nice to get along with what they asked for and how they asked for it. So thanks to those guys.
going to your point about the Sankey Lane trees and whatnot, I think it's probably a good idea that we put something out at least in social media or somewhere to let people know that boulevard trees won't be replaced.
That should be something that should probably be a reminder every so often.
Correct.
Because 5 years later, they're going to forget and new people, so it's something that we should somehow look at doing that. Because they were kind of upset when they found out they weren't able to get trees put back in.
I saw one of them was in my friend's front yard, knocked over in half. I don't know if that was one of the dead ones. But
Anything else you'd like to ask the Public Works Director? All right, thank you, Sean. Thanks a lot again. Now, city engineer's report.
All right, the report is in your packet. To update you on last year's project, the wear course has been completed. We are still withholding retainage, as we brought up earlier. I know that there are some sod problems, restoration problems, and the contractor is continuously trying to get the subcontractor there to fix it. That same subcontractor is supposed to come in for this year's project and put sod on Luella. So we're hoping once they come back to town that we just get everything that needs to be done. But it's very repetitious. What I'm hearing is the sod contractors are overbooked. As for the rest of this year's project, the majority of the underground is done on Fifth Avenue. They're working on subdrain today. The water main is going through its testing, and once we get everything passed, they'll have to do their final connection. And then they'll finish up the subdrain, and the underground work will be done on 5th, and they will be moving on to 12th. When they move on to 12th to do the underground, they will stay on 5th and get it up to a rock, the rock base, so it's passable. But they don't need the full underground crew there for that portion of it. And I just want to point out that the last page of my report, that some talks with MnDOT might be appropriate for the signal at Schumann Business Park. It's been brought to my attention that for the construction period for the interchange project, a signal will be needed at that intersection.
So there will be a signal there for 2 years.
Right. And
So why don't we continue our talks with them?
we need to continue our talks with them and hopefully get a permanent one installed.
I mean, if they deem it necessary for 2 years, I don't know why they'd want to.
Restudy it and then deem it back at a later date.
So what we would like to do is redo the counts this fall after the businesses that are being built are up and running, and get those counts to see if we warrant, and then hopefully be able to talk with MnDOT about hopefully cost sharing, since they will have to get a temporary signal in, they will have to get a energy source there and then they would have to pay for signal parts, even it would be on wires, which is lesser cost, but there is a cost to install it for those 2 years. So that would be our intent and hopes that we can negotiate something.
Do you have any idea on Fifth Street, once they get the rock in, how long it's gonna be before they get that first lift off?
Not sure.
Talking to the contractor, as soon as, if they are in the area, Rochester Sand and Gravel, he will have them do it right away. It's all at the mercy of, because it's mobilization costs and everything. So if they are down here doing something else, he'll have them right away. Otherwise, he's gonna wait until they're ready. It could be a month later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all based on mobilization costs.
So if they're here, they'll do it, if not, they'll wait till they get
They'll wait
down
and
to
do it
12.
all.
Do it when they do 12.
They got a lift to do on the church parking lot yet, too?
That is Elcor, and we worked some stuff out with them. Elcor is taking care of the church lot, and they are going to take care of the part that they tore up on the church lot, so it's one smooth patch on that, with no seams. So it won't be, that's worked out.
Yeah.
And we'd like to hold off on that until the base coat is at least done up there, so we don't have trucks turning around on the church's new parking lot.
How's your other little project going up there, buddy?
Well, that's gonna be tied into the church, so that might not be done till September, depending on if they're in the area or not. Or late August, whatever.
All right, any questions for the engineer? All right, thank you, Jenna. No library director tonight. No fire chief tonight. That takes us on the committee, commission, board reports, Chamber of Commerce. They're resting up after that great summer fest again. EDHRA, got minutes of the regular meeting of June 19th. And then there's minutes of the community discussion of June 19th in there too. Because that was the one we held at the Civic Center with all the people that answered the survey that wanted to come and talk and stuff. Got some good input from a few of them. You got your CETA updates in there. That'll take us to finance. Sounds like we're gonna have a meeting next week. Library.
I'm sorry.
Wake up.
I was busy.
Park board.
Park Board met last night to discuss the 5-year plan and, budget items, and there was a lengthy discussion about the feasibility of repairing or what to do with the tennis courts out at Bear Cave Park. It'd be nice to get some input from the public about how often they're used or whether or not they could be used for something else as well. I've heard pickleball mentioned and some other things.
I received a couple calls today.
That's my fault.
So,
Alright.
and like Jeremiah said, if there is a fair amount of public that use it, we want that feedback, because that'll help us either stage improvements, or if we were to repurpose part of it, so some would stay tennis court, maybe some pickleball, some, you know, if there's other uses that our public talks to us about. Families that have helped us with those tennis courts are providing that feedback for us now, and they have a desire to keep those in place, and so we need that feedback from our public.
Yep. All right. All right. You come up with a 5-year plan then? Good. Personnel,
Nothing.
planning and zoning,
Met tonight, and I don't think there's anything in the future.
all right. Public safety, Mike, you got anything you wanna add?
The calls for service report, should be in your packets. Summerfest was very eventful as far as everyone having fun and being good. It was very uneventful for law enforcement, so it's a good plus. A reminder, August 7th, National Night Out. You can register at www.copproductlive.com or call 507-328-6777. Right now, we're in a TZD speed extra enforcement period. It started on July 6th and goes till July 22nd. 1 in 3 fatal crashes are speed oriented. That's $40 billion economic impact, so we'll be out there doing some extra speed enforcement day. Last thing I just want to remind residents about the ordinance for trailers, RVs, recreational vehicles. We see the uptick in parking on the street with boats as well during the summer because they're in the most use. However, it's not legal to park on the street unless they're going to be moved immediately. So it's for traffic safety. It also helps our public works. They do a great job of cleaning out the streets. So trying to get those off the roads.
All right, any questions for Mike? Thanks. Anything else to add for public safety? Public works? Roll call.
On a report this meeting?
Stu 180, nothing going on there. Transit Advisory Committee, here, communications, nothing. That takes us to the open mic policy. City Council welcomes and encourages participation from community members. Please keep in mind that your comments must be pertinent to city business and must adhere to the data privacy rules so no employee's name may be used. Please do not expect action from the council this evening regarding your concerns. We also request that your comments be limited to 4 minutes. Speakers will be recognized only once at this time. We would ask any and each of you that want to step up to the podium, state your name and address. Let us know what you're thinking. Anyone want to use the open mic? If not, we'll close
I'll
out.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, I think we have some, he was starting to stand up, were you?
Who, Dan?
Oh, I got a couple of questions.
No, okay.
He was starting to stand
A
up.
second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No, they look on the-
Carries.
Pick it up.